What a show we got for you guys. The Rams are playing tonight. I'm going to take that game apart in the daily presidential address. Adam Trigger, Eric Pauly, Andrew McInnis. Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. I'm Lawrence Presman. You're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet. Teddy covers my co-host, Adam Trigger, right off the bat. Adam, welcome, my friend. How are you?
Late last night with Ariel, CT, a couple other people. We went to Baylor Duke. It was a great time, great game. Unfortunately, was on the wrong side of that one.
So
But I
was
did hit
I,
my
Adam.
5%. Whereas I won't complain about the refs, but I do think that Duke got all the calls down the stretch in that game. But I hit my 5% play with Ryder, my third 5% play in a row in college basketball. So I got out a little bit ahead last night, and it was a great time. Really good game at Madison Square Garden's an awesome venue. If you've never been there, should be on your bucket list. So yeah, can't complain.
Teddy?
Well, let's start today with a game on the extra board. That, of course, Boston College against Lehigh. Looking at the Wager Talk live odds screen right now, I'm seeing BC about a 17-point favorite. There's 16.5s out there. Total 149. What do you want to do in this matchup between a major and a minor?
Yeah, so I really wanted to come on and talk about Lehigh. I do like Lehigh here plus the points. They've played as a double-digit underdog 3 times this year. They've covered all 3 of them. Penn State, North Carolina, and Providence, all covers for Lehigh. They didn't win any of them, but stayed within the number. And the reason I think they're able to do that is their guards are as good as the guards at some of these power conference schools. Keith Higgins, Tyler Whitney-Sidney are both awesome veteran guards that are probably better than you typically get out of a Patriot League team. So I think just right there, the fact that they're going to be able to hang with Claudel Harris and with Zachary and with BC's backcourt, make them a viable option, in my opinion, getting 17 in this game. Now, they're 2-7. They haven't beaten a Division I opponent yet this year. And that's another reason I want to talk about them, because I think you should have Lehigh circled as a team to jump in with at some point. They've played a very difficult schedule. In addition to the 3 games I talked about, they've played Cornell, a game I went to way back on opening night, a game that they could have won, and they ended up covering, lost by 6, but they led for a good portion of that game. Monmouth's a good team, UMBC. So their record is deceiving because they've played some really good competition. In addition to like the big name teams, they've played good teams from smaller conferences as well. So I think this is a team come Patriot League time that you're going to want to start backing, because they're better than a lot of these other Patriot League teams. Yet they're going to come in with a probably like a 2-8, 2-9, 3-9 type record by the time Patriot League play starts. Now, Quentin Post is an absolute monster, BC center, 7-footer, but I don't think he's going to have as big of an advantage here as maybe it looks like on paper. I mean, he's definitely going to have a height advantage, but Lehigh's done a good job at defending the rim, despite being a little bit smaller. I already talked about the guards on Lehigh, who are really what makes that team go and gives them a chance, but they play some defense too. So, I think that this number is too high. Lehigh's hung around in these types of games already this season. The Providence game is a great example where even when it got stretched to 20, Lehigh hung around, and I think they ended up, cutting it to like 13 and covered something like 18.5 in that game. This number just feels too big, and I expect the Mountain Hawks to hang around and cover the big number against BC tonight.
So talk to me about this particular stretch of the college basketball season. I always find this period right before Christmas. Sometimes the favorites are distracted. Sometimes the underdogs are distracted. Do you find this time of year, this particular stretch right here before Christmas, to be a difficult one when it comes to predicting randomness? Which I guess there's more. It feels to me like there's more randomness at this time of year than any other in college hoops. Let's talk about it.
No, Teddy, that's such a good point. I actually don't think you could have put it better. There's so much randomness. And if you look, like, I've had a really good couple weeks, and the bets I've been hitting, East Carolina plus 15. Last night I had Ryder plus 11 for a 5% play. Lehigh plus 17 kind of falls into that category. These double-digit dogs tend to cash in these couple weeks because of the randomness. So you think about it, like Boston College, you're going to need a pretty strong effort wire to wire for BC to win by 17 or more. And that tends to be what happens in these games. Last week, I'll use my big play from last week as an example, East Carolina and Florida. Put that game anywhere else in the season, Florida's probably going to win by double digits more often than not. Put it during finals week on a neutral floor with no students and like kind of like a sleepy spot with a big game on deck. In Florida's case, they had the Michigan game coming up on deck. And you see these games be closer than they probably should be. Boston College, they have a little bit of a layoff. I think it's been a while since both of these teams have played, but I know they have an ACC game coming up next. So you might catch BC in a little bit of a tired spot. And if you're betting on the underdog, I feel like the variance plays out in your favor more often than not, because you really need to play quality basketball start to finish to win by 18. It's hard to win a basketball game by 18 against an opponent that knows what they're doing. And so I think that plays oftentimes in these finals week type games.
Adam Trigger joining us, everybody. It's Thursday. We've got a bowl game going tonight, and we've got Syracuse against USF. -3, -3.5, a total of 55.5. How should we bet this game?
So this is a client play for me. I posted it a couple days ago when I was able to get Syracuse on the money line at -125, but I would still lay the 3. So if you don't want to take a juiced up money line here, which is what you would have to play if you haven't bet Syracuse already, I think 3 or better is fine for this game in terms of a playable number. Syracuse, we'll just start with them as a favorite. They've covered 13 of their last 14 laying points. So that's something that, sort of bodes well for them, being as they've shifted back to being more of a favorite, which is where this opened at. As far as, motivation, I think is huge in these bowl games, gauging motivation, who wants to be there. For a week or so, the last couple of weeks, I've heard nothing but, South Florida is going to be the more motivated team. Of course, Syracuse fired Dino Babers. They've got an interim coach coaching. Garrett Schrader's, opting out of the game. He's not going to play. But as far as like the tone here locally and around the program, I don't think Syracuse is not excited to go and play a bowl game. I don't think, Fran Brown has been embraced here. Everyone's pretty excited about the program going forward. So I think Syracuse has plenty of motivation to want to go and win a game. I was at their bowl game last year. They lost to Minnesota in the Pinstripe Bowl on a cold afternoon. They get to go play at the Boca Raton Bowl in Florida. So what's not to be excited about, about that? As far as the matchup here, Syracuse has their defense at full strength. The only other bowl game I've played so far this season was Ohio on this past Saturday, and it was a very similar setup where the market kind of shifted against Ohio because they were going to have some offensive guys out, but the whole defense was intact. And when you give these teams 3 weeks or so to prepare for a game, I think they could overcome some of their, offensive guys being out, especially if they're skill position guys. Now, South Florida is going to have at least one starting offensive lineman out here, possibly 2. That tends to be tougher to overcome than, let's say, a running back or a receiver or even a quarterback sometimes being out. But where I think Syracuse really wins this game is their defense. The South Florida offense, they haven't been great in the red zone this year. They're great between the 20s, but they don't always finish drives. And when this Syracuse defense is at full strength, they're very good. So this feels just like the Ohio game from this past weekend, where people went against them and they won easily. I think Syracuse's defense is going to control this game. I think they're going to have a game plan. And, like I said, I loved it at pick, even at -3, just based on how good they've been as a favorite the last couple of years. I think Syracuse, if they win, they're probably going to win this one and cover the number. So that's a 4% play for me. Syracuse, money line for clients at -125, but I'd play this up to -3.
Yeah, the WagerTalk Live odds screen is showing that the 3s are all gone now. 3.5
Really
is the prevailing number. Yeah, and pretty much across the board. I don't see any 3s out there looking at the screen as we speak. Now, you talked about that Syracuse defense. Total here is sitting 55.5, 56. Do you look under in this game as well?
I didn't have much of a total opinion, Teddy, but some smart people seem to be looking under because I know that move is sharp money coming in on the under. So I suppose I agree with it. I mean, my handicap on Syracuse is predicated on their defense playing well. So if I think Syracuse's defense is going to play well, then I would have to lean toward the under. So yeah, I would say under if I had to pick a total here. It would have to be under for me.
Adam Trigger, outstanding, man. You go to a lot of college basketball games. How many you go to a week?
I do like one a week usually, sometimes two, depending on like where I am, what my WagerTalk schedule is. I figure if I can get to like one a week over the course of the season, I get to like 25 to 30 throughout the year. I try to like go to different conferences, go around the country. My goal is to hit them all at some point. So we'll just keep working through them until the nice thing, Prez, is I'm probably not going to run out anytime soon because there's 362 Division I college basketball schools. So always someplace new to go.
Exactly. Adam Trigger, everyone. What do you got to promote, bro?
So I have a 4% college basketball play tonight. I've got a 4% play going right now. It's on Sacred Heart. Just if you want to try to bet it live. But yeah, 4% play in college hoop tonight. I just gave you my bowl play for tonight on Syracuse. And I know we've got a coupon that goes to the end of the year, or at least the end of the week. I think it's Bowl 20. I put it up on my page as well. So go check that out. I think it's good for any daily package. And I have football up for this weekend as well.
There we go. Adam Trigger. Teddy covers. While Adam was talking, I got a message from Andrew McInnis. He has no internet. He will not be joining us on the show today, but I will give out his two bets later on that he was going to talk about. Carmine Bianco stepping in to cover for him with about 5 minutes of notice. Eric Pauly still to come. We will look at the Rams New Orleans game as well. But before all of that, bro, what did we learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
So yesterday, I was talking about bowls and momentum shifts, and I said the word, or the quote, prepare for beats. What does that mean? Was Prez's response. Maybe it wasn't that nice. WTF does that mean? Maybe, but I didn't get a chance to say. So I want to talk about that in What Bettors Learned Today. How to prepare for potential bad beats in a season where that's going to happen sometimes. First, never count your cash until you've won. Good first quarters, good third quarters, whatever. When they take a knee, you can celebrate. When they dribble out, you can celebrate, not before. Second, never put too much on any one game. I agree very rarely with Prez, but I do agree with him 100% when he says a 5% play is only 1% more than a 4% play. I never step up my wagers where one bet is going to hurt me, even a 5%er. I'd advise you to do the same. Beats will happen. How to prepare. Number 3, learn how to breathe and compartmentalize this shit. It comes with experience. Look, a single season of betting will give you plenty of chances to get experience on how to deal with beats. You're allowed to have a moment, or 5, or 15. But don't let some idiot you've never met and will never meet fumbling at the 1-inch line and getting returned 99 yards the other way with 9 seconds left on the clock ruin your day or your week. It can ruin your hour, but he can't let you get on tilt. So have your moment, freak out, and then breathe, and then chill. And knowing that game plan, that's how you prepare for beats. Executing the game plan, not always as easy as it sounds. Good luck with that. But knowing, having a strategy going in, if something goes sour, how do I deal with it? That's going to help. Merry Christmas. And by the way, no show on Monday, Christmas Day. We couldn't ask the guys behind the scenes to work. I get it. I was the a-hole lobbying for us to do the show. But all business, boys, all business. No show on Monday. We'll be back on Tuesday of next week. Lawrence, that's what I learned.
So to summarize, Teddy agrees with me. 5 comes after 4. Thank you. And learn how to breathe. Okay. So Off topic completely. Bradley Cooper directed and starred in a movie called Maestro. It's the story of Leonard Bernstein, however you want to pronounce his name. He's a very famous classical conductor guy. Movie came out yesterday on Netflix, and this movie has been pushed and pushed and pushed. It was a lot of excitement over this movie. My mother and father in Boca, they set aside last night to watch this movie. Vivian and I set aside last night to watch this movie. I got 16 minutes in. Biggest piece of shit I ever seen in my life. Now, maybe it's good after the 16-minute mark. I want to know from you guys if you've seen this black and white piece of poop called Maestro, and whether I should continue after the 16-minute mark. My parents got to the 18-minute mark. They turned it off as well. So big letdown on that stupid movie. I know you don't care, Teddy. I get that.
Not even a little bit.
So one of our listeners, Theodore, wants to know Dennis Perrette. Teddy covers, this is a real question. When betting team totals in the NBA, are teams labeled under and over teams? That being said, is there more value betting over teams off a rest, under teams off of a back-to-back? Dennis, I love that question because I do label teams under and over teams in all sports that I bet. What do you do there, Teddy? Do you I know you do power polls, but how do you do the over-under?
Power polls? You know, I do power poll. What's a power
rankings? Teddy, can you focus on the question?
I do power rankings. I do power ratings. There's a huge difference. Power rankings is 1 to 32 in the NFL or whatever.
Fine.
Power ratings are 6 teams can be power rated the exact same thing. Huge difference between power rankings and power ratings. It was an excellent question. I saw it on Twitter. I couldn't respond to it on Twitter. It would have taken me an hour. 7 tweets to answer the question. The bottom line for me is, in a word, no. I'm not worried about it when I have there's an over team, and I'm looking to play them overs. It's not situation dependent, second of back-to-backs, extra rest, any of that. If it's an under team, it's a team I'm looking to play unders with. It's not situation dependent, back-to-back, etc. But the bottom line is, great question. But the answer is no. There's nothing that I look for in terms of correlation. Over teams, I'm looking to play overs. Under teams, I'm looking to play unders. And the circumstance and situation behind those games will probably determine if it's a bet or a lean. But it's not anything that I can say, okay, in this spot do this, in that spot do that. It's not that specific.
There we go. Eric Pauly joining us from the Gold Sheet. Eric, love having you on the show. How are you, my friend?
A little bit. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, glad to be back. Anything to add so far to anything we've spoken about, including the movie Maestro?
Actually, I have not even heard of this movie. I am not a movie guy, so I will definitely not be getting a review for you anytime soon.
Okay. William Hertzman wants to know, if I stopped the movie after 15 minutes, what happened to the rest of the popcorn? Dude, I ate that popcorn in 12 minutes. Like, that popcorn didn't even get close to the 15-minute mark. Eric, let's get into some actionable information. You've got a prop bet for us in the New Orleans Rams game tonight on, Olav. I think I pronounced it right. Probably not. I don't care. What's the bet?
Yeah, so last week we got a ticket home targeting the wide receiver 1, Devontae Adams, on Thursday night. And this week on Thursday night, we are targeting Chris Olave, wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints. Pretty simple handicap here. So the Rams right now on defense, they are dead last in neutral pass rate on defense, meaning that teams throw it on them at the highest rate in the NFL. Digging a little bit deeper, the Rams are 23rd in explosive pass play rate and 31st in average on defense, meaning teams are throwing the ball deep down the field, they're throwing it often, and they're having success doing so. And the players that have been giving them the biggest fits are wide Rams 19th in DVOA against those wide receiver ones, allowing almost 84 yards per game in those situations. So the Rams, they're very split between man and zone, though they do play a tick more man than zone defense. And looking at Olave, he has a 90.8 PFF grade against man coverage, and he leads the New Orleans Saints in target percent. And he also has a 15.6 average depth of target, which is good for second on the team, meaning that when Olave is getting his targets and his receptions, most of the time it's coming either short, middle, or deep down the field. Then you go for his zone numbers, also leads the team in targets for his zone, and he has the highest average depth of target. Again, meaning when he is going and getting the football, Derek Carr is looking for him deeper down the field. Olave has cleared this number in 54% of the games, and this number just seems too low for a guy that's explosive against the defense. That is a panel. So a little bit of an injury going on. If he can play, to be able to throw the ball down the field. If they need to go to Jameis Winston for any circumstance, I like this bet even more. So give me Olave over 60.5 receiving yards.
Olave over 60.5. Now, do you worry at all about the fact that he's just coming back off of injury here? You know, he hasn't been playing. And you worry at all that on these Thursday night games, sometimes the game plan gets a little bit skewed. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult for the offenses to move.
Yeah, so definitely slightly concerned, but they've sat him out of practice. He missed last week's game, so he has had ample time to recover, though. Always have to be a little bit concerned. It's an ankle injury, so maybe one false step he could get hurt, and that would just be unfortunate, but it's all in the game, as we know. But the one thing that does give us a little bit more upside is there are a lot of times where if the quarterback one goes down, you're going to be feeling worse about your bet because of the backup quarterback. In this instance, I'm not saying Jameis Winston is a better quarterback, but if for whatever reason Carr gets knocked out of the game or he's not playing well, we know Jameis will throw the football deep down the field, which could help this bet actually get home. So a little bit concerned with the ankle, general concerns. I think actually targeting the wide receiver one always comes off a little bit square, but based on how he's doing this number, he absolutely destroys this number. I think it's a little bit too short.
Eric's got a little bit of internet issues. We are managing through it. No, Teddy, it's Eric, not you. Martel Duval writes, man, where is Eric getting his information from? Well, Eric, what's going on over at the Gold Sheet?
So the Gold Sheet is the newsletter that I write for the NFL. We also obviously have college football written by other team, basketball, college, and NBA. So head on over to goldsheet.com for the information. But as any good handicapper, you have to have multiple sources of information. So obviously have a lot of other tools that help me write the Gold Sheet as well as come on and be able to give out winning plays.
There we go. Okay, so New England Patriots. You like them this week. I basically did the NFL presidential address yesterday. I called them a eunuch. They're my eunuch team of the year. In other words, it doesn't matter how cheap the brothel is, they still can't score. Tell us why you like the New England Patriots here.
Yeah, so while I could obviously see why you think that, because they have a poor offense, but now they're finally getting a little bit healthier. Mario back, as well as Keyshawn Boutte, their rookie. That's going to help them get a little bit more firepower there. But this number is just too big for me. Our clients actually got +7 because they hit 7 yesterday. I'm still good with it at 6.5, but I make this game Denver -4.5. So there's, again, still value in that 6.5. But I just think that while Sean Payton certainly deserves a lot of credit for what he's done with his team, he has Russell Wilson playing a little bit better. Their defense are obviously in the thick of a playoff race. This is a team that actually doesn't really play to their weaknesses. A great example of that last week against the Lions, who we had as well, so that was an easy winner. This team just continues what they do, and what they do on offense actually matches up really well the Patriots play on. Denver's 26th in new pass rate, on that they just continue to run on early downs, late downs, and Russell Wilson is the check down king. He's throwing the ball a ton behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage. They're not really pushing the ball down the field. You have a Patriots defense, number one, is in defending the run, and they're holding teams to well under their general success rates. So it's not like this team having some fluky good performances, they're absolutely shutting down opposing run offenses. And the Patriots, they're also one of the heaviest blitz teams in the NFL. And Russ is 23rd in PFF grade against the blitz this year. And if you look at a season-long metrics for the Patriots, their pass D might not look as great. They dealt with a couple of injuries earlier in the year, but they also played some great passing attack, Miami, Dallas, and Kansas City. So this defense is one of the better units in the NFL. Denver's offense is not great, and all the love has been for Denver's defense, but this unit only seeing such high marks in like EPA because of the turnovers they've been forcing. But again, as we saw last week and a few of the Houston Texans, if this team is not getting these fortuitous turnovers, their defense is not good enough to hold down a team. So in a low total game on prime time, I just think 6.5 points is way too many. Again, clients got 7, so we are sitting on that key number, but I do like this at 6.5. Too many points to lay with the Denver team, if you ask me.
Eric, Pauly, everybody. Eric, listen, you've really done a great job struggling through your bad internet. We're not going to ask you a follow-up question. We're just going to let you go. Thank you for joining us, my brother. And Teddy, in regards to this New England game, I really like the under here. And I know it's 34 and a half. It's a super low total. I can't see 5 touchdowns from these two teams. Are you going to be in play on this game?
So snow expected in Denver.
Yep.
On Sunday night. This one should be a fun snow game to watch. And from a total standpoint, I'd have a hard time playing the under here because I expect turnovers. This is going to be a turnover game. Denver forces them. New England has them. If you're making a case for the Broncos, it's going to be because the Patriots are turning the ball over because that's what they do. So when you have turnovers, where do the turnovers come? Do they come in scoring territory for you? Do they come in scoring territory for them? It adds an element of randomness. Similarly, the Patriots defense, pretty good at forcing turnovers themselves. And it's not like Denver's a team that is hanging on to the football and Russell Wilson's making great throws every time. So in a turnover game or a game where I expect turnovers, I'm much less likely to get involved with a play on the total because I don't know where those turnovers are going to be.
Yeah, and great point. It's why I'm not releasing the play. It's just a lean. It's one of the plays I gave out in the NFL presidential address. And Teddy, there's nothing random about those turnovers. This is how it works. It's really simple. If I'm on the over, the turnover is on the offensive side of the field. If I'm on the under, it's on the opposite side. This is really straightforward, bro. It's always against my bet. That's how turnovers work. I don't understand how that works, but after 25 years, 30 years of doing this, that's pretty much the way it rolls. Carmine, your big game breakdown, bro. I don't even know what it is. I can't wait to hear. Tell me it's something interesting.
It is something interesting. Big game breakdown time. Let's talk some NFL for Sunday. The marquee match of the day, the Miami Dolphins and the Dallas Cowboys. Over the course of the last half hour, we've seen money showing for Dallas. It was Miami minus 1.5 even early this morning. Now I'm seeing pick'ems out there. Total down to 50, even 49.5. Again, this total has seen some under money as well. And this is all about Tyreek Hill, who was unable to practice. So that's why we're seeing the Dallas money. And that's why we're seeing the under money. I want to start with my big game breakdown, talking about the Dolphins and the Cowboys, by talking about stuff that I pay less attention to at this time of year. By mid-December, I could really give a you-know-what about who beat who in September and how much. Very different teams, very different point spreads. Many point spreads in September look laughable now. The Dolphins were -3 against the Chargers on week 1. That was my week 1 big ticket. Miami wouldn't be a dog there now. But here's my point. Everyone's talking about how Dallas can't beat anybody good. Dallas can't win on the road. That's the mainstream narrative this week. Dallas can't beat good teams. Dallas can't win on the road. They were embarrassed last week at Buffalo. They were embarrassed at San Francisco. You know who else got embarrassed at Buffalo? Miami. They lost by 4 touchdowns. The game was over by halftime. But we're not thinking about that. It was so long ago. So, Dallas off a bad game. Miami's off a blowout win. They dominated the Jets off a win on a short week. Yay! Woo! Forgetting September, when the lines weren't quite so accurate as they are now in relation to how good the teams actually are. The Dolphins, 7-1 straight up, 6-2 against the spread at -7 or higher. They can beat the crappy teams by margin. The only loss during that span was that freaky ending against Tennessee on Monday Night Football, a game they could have won by 2 touchdowns if things broke right in the last 3 minutes. So they've been really good at beating the bad teams. How about the Dolphins as favorites of less than -7 or as underdogs? Anyone who they're not supposed to dominate. 3 games since the beginning of October. They lost to the Bills straight up and against the spread. They lost to the Eagles straight up and against the spread. They lost to the Chiefs straight up and against the spread. I don't trust Miami versus good teams either. And when you look at their injury report, it's not pretty in the trenches on either side of the football. Offensive line, defensive line, secondary. Miami's got a ton of injuries this week. So who's got the chip on their shoulder? Well, Miami's calling off a win. Dallas has just got embarrassed. You have an embarrassed team versus a team that's fat and happy. Yeah, I'll take my chances with Dallas. Dallas looked bad last week. I think Miami looks bad this week. Give me the Cowboys. Even at a pick'em price, I'm interested in the Dallas side in this one. This may end up being a client play for me, Lawrence. Putting the card together after I finish shooting at Fox 5 this afternoon. NFL running good. 67% counting every play over the last 5 weeks. This one could be on my card. Back to you.
Yeah, listen, I love this play, Teddy. It makes a lot of sense to me. And people have to also remember, it's not easy for these indoor teams or these nice weather teams to head over to Buffalo in the middle of December. You just got to throw that Dallas Cowboy performance in Buffalo out the window. Carmine Bianco joining us. Carmine, you like the Cowboys?
I love Teddy's pick because I'm Bills Mafia, man. So I want the Cowboys to win, man. Absolutely. Hopefully the Bills set up a final week of the season where they play the Dolphins for the AFC title, so AFC East title. So go Teddy.
Yeah, go Teddy. I'm with Carman. I got to bet on the Bills to win the division. It ain't looking good right now, but there is a pathway.
Oh.
So Teddy, from your mouth to God's ears. Okay, I heard, Teddy. I got you. Okay, Mr. Bianco, you are on almost no notice whatsoever. Before we get into your bets, Andrew did do the work, and he came up with some bets. I'm going to give them out real quick. Andrew McInnis liked the Carolina Hurricanes -125 versus Pittsburgh. It's my favorite play that I didn't bet. Carmine, you and I talk every night. What is the best bets in the world? The answer, the one you didn't bet, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
We complain about it every
listen,
night. Every night.
Yeah. It's you complain about it every night, and I got to hear about it. Teddy's got to hear about it. It is what it is, Lawrence. We've grown to love you for it.
Okay, so he likes the Carolina Hurricanes. They're now -135. He also likes Chuba Hubbard over 71.5 rushing yards. Teddy, I did not check if the 71.5 rushing yards is still a good number. My apologies. Okay, let's move
You didn't pronounce
forward.
his name right either, but that's okay. You don't have to know any NFL players.
Okay,
Isn't
you
that
know
the
what,
sport
Teddy?
handicap?
Yeah, Teddy. Yeah, because pronouncing other people's names are absolutely crucial inside of a handicap.
You're a
Carmine,
host.
Vancouver and Dallas. You got to bet for us on that game. What is it?
Yeah, this is the last game of the road trip for the Vancouver Canucks, and it's been a good road trip for them. We keep waiting for regression to kick in with this team. It's just not happening. They may lose a couple, but then they roll off 3 or 4 wins. Vancouver's playing extremely good hockey right now. Demko is one of the favorites to win the Vezina Trophy, and he's having a great season. 16-7-3, 233 goals against average, and a .921 save percentage, which is good. And as I mentioned earlier on Puck Time, even when he doesn't have his best game, the Vancouver Canucks score goals, and this is why they're winning games. The problem here, and I like my plus money in this game here, and one of the reasons why is, listen, Dallas is a good team, and they're going to make the playoffs this season. But with Ottinger out of the lineup, it's Scott Wedgwood in goal. and they've been allowing goals. He's played 3 games in a row. This will be his 4th game in 7 nights. And he's a goalie who, over the last 2 or 3 seasons, has never played. He's a spot guy. He comes in, plays the second of a back-to-back, relieves Ottinger, who normally should be playing about 60 games. Wedgwood will get about 20, 22 games a season. He's now played 4 games in a row. He's faced 99 shots in 3 games. And this is one of those ones at some point we're going to see him have a real bad game. And I think it very well could be tonight against this Vancouver Canucks team, who will finish off this road trip, hopefully with a win and at good plus money, plus 125 on Vancouver. The line really hasn't moved. It opened at 145, minus 145, plus 125. And on the WagerTalk live lines, it's still there. So I'm going to take the Canucks at plus money here to get the win.
So, like most sports fans of my age, I spent a lot of time watching SportsCenter back in the day. And one of the things you get from watching SportsCenter is you get hockey highlights, and you hear the names from hockey. And then you move out to Vegas, and then you start doing all the work yourself, and you don't need, you're watching the games every night. You don't need to watch SportsCenter anymore. And what happens, or at least what happened for me, is you start to lose the hockey players. You don't get the names. They don't like filter into your head. Clearly, this guy we're going to talk about next is someone who's pretty good. Clayton Keller. He's shots on goal over 2.5, minus 140. But I never heard of him. Tell me about him. And why do we want to bet him over shots on goal?
Yeah. We don't hear from him because, he plays for Arizona, and, they've got that tiny little arena that they play in that fits like 5,000 fans, and people just they get pushed by the wayside when you think of the teams along the West Coast, like the LA Kings, the Vegas Golden Knights. Those are the teams that people sort of focus on. But Keller's been good. He's gone over his number 4 straight times, 5 of his last 6. These 2 teams just played a few nights ago in Arizona. Arizona wins that game 1-0. So it doesn't seem like much, but he had 5 shots in that game. Goes over his number. And the Sharks, these are when I'm betting these props, I normally like to take props against teams that allow a lot of shots on goal, and that's what the San Jose Sharks are. They have the worst record as far as shots on goal allowed at 36.13 shots per game, and they were terrible at the beginning of the season, and then they went on the East Coast. The Sharks did, found some scoring, played really well, won some games, but have come home and now have the wheels are falling off again on this Sharks team. They're not a good team. Keller goes in there. I think Arizona gets the win tonight, and Keller goes over 2.5 shots again to make it 5 straight and 6 of the last 7.
Yeah, Teddy, I'll take Clayton Keller on the Leafs any day of the week. Carmine, outstanding, man. Way to come on here with almost no notice and give out a couple of bets. Are you in play tonight in the Rams game? And the reason I ask is I think you're on a 19-2 NFL run, if memory serves. 61, give or take, % on the entire season.
Yeah, plus 64.85 units of profit through the whole NFL season, 61.4%, 54, 34, and 2. And then the always great 20.5% ROI on the NFL season. It's been a great NFL season thus far. I am not on this game tonight, but I have one play loaded already for Sunday. That was part of the $2 customer appreciation, and the rest of the games are going up this afternoon. So I'm looking forward to continuing that run. 4 plays up in the NHL tonight. 2 of them are best bet selections. 3-1 on the ice last night. Let's look for a complete turnaround and a big run in NHL coming. So take advantage of those deals over at WagerTalk.
There we go. Carmine Bianco, everyone. Teddy covers, we're nowhere near 125 likes. I guess it's me. I mispronounced 2 names, and all of a sudden we don't get any likes.
Chuba, baby.
Chuba, I know, and I know. Okay. Listen, man, you're not in play on tonight's NFL game. I'm not in play on tonight's NFL game, but I am waiting for the Circa lines to come out because I do plan on playing the Rams as one of my Circa plays. We've got money coming in in the other direction. It was -4.5. We've got -4 on this game and a total of 46. I like the Rams here, Teddy, and I'm not going to get to the window tonight because, I'm just too afraid of the damn line here. I hate these -4s. If it was -2.5, I'm all over the Rams. I think this Rams team, and we spoke about it, I think this Rams team is an up-and-coming team. I think they make the playoffs. I don't think Seattle does. They obviously have to get the job done tonight. My lean is on the Rams, but it is not a big enough lean to make it a bet. Do you have any thoughts or opinions on this game?
So whatever 4.5s were out there that you were referencing, they certainly weren't widely available. Maybe a flash of a second, a book had them up. I was just checking a couple of books, and it was literally like for a minute there was a book that had a 4.5. This has been sitting at 4. It's 4. There's no major line movement either way on this game. It's been sitting at 4. We've seen a little bit of money coming on the over. I wouldn't argue with that assessment. Certainly the addition of Chris Olave back to the Saints lineup makes a big difference for them. Derek Carr is coming off one of his better games.
2 good games
I
in a
don't
row.
trust New Orleans all that much. Okay.
Yeah.
But from a defensive standpoint, I think the Saints have the better D, and that's keeping me off LA tonight. Easy pass.
Yeah, and I agree. Well said. I think you froze, which is freaking great news for me, man. Like, who needs you correcting me every freaking 2 minutes? But anyway, I think, oh, God, he's back. Okay, so, yeah. Anything else you want to add to this game tonight? I like the Rams, but I can't get there. You like the Rams, but you can't get there. Is that pretty much a summary?
I don't like the Rams. I'm neutral on this game. It was not a game that I came close to having a wager on. So, no.
Okay.
That's why you're like, why don't you do it in your big game breakdown? If I don't have a side or a total or anything I can give, I'm not going to do it in my big game breakdown. Hi, here's this game, and let me give you 15 reasons to pass on it. There's a game I don't have an opinion on. That's not what big game breakdown's for. So,
dude, all I did was ask if it was your big game breakdown. Like, I didn't need all the 16 reasons why it wasn't.
You looked and saw what my big game breakdown was.
Let's do a daily
and called
presidential
me to
address
change
regardless. I don't want to hear from Teddy anymore. Go. Okay, guys, it's time for your daily presidential address. I hope you enjoyed Wager Talk today. Great show. Adam Trigger, Eric, Pauly, Carmine, Bianco. Teddy was so annoying today. And also a movie review on the piece of crap known as Maestro. Anyway, guys, I just want to make mention. I have a promo code up for my basketball. We had some people email into head office wanting to play a month of my basketball and getting a discount. So head office created a promo code. It's Hoop30. That's Hoop30. Let me check if there's an S in there. There could be an S in there. Way to be prepared there, Lawrence. Who knows? Hoops30. So there you go. Hoops30. It's $179 for my all access NBA and college basketball. Last year, I made 130 units in both of those sports combined. I think about 127. This year, I'm up over 30 units in both the sports combined. I'm on a huge college basketball run, and I'm about to go on a monster NBA run, and I am up profit in both the sports. So use the promo code HOOPS30, $179 for 30 days of my college basketball and NBA. Okay, some bets for tonight. I love the Carolina Hurricanes. -135. They are my favorite side play of the night. I also like Vegas and Tampa Bay to go over the total of 6.5. And although Edmonton and New Jersey is a 7, I think we're going to see 9 goals scored in that game. I like over the total of 7 in that game as well. That's it for the daily presidential address. I like the Rams, just not enough to release them as a client play. Teddy covers. Take us home.
Sure, that's going to wrap it for the Thursday edition of Wager Talk Today. We'll do it again, same time, same channel tomorrow, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, well, enjoy Leonard Bernstein. All I think about is that REM song, The End of the World as We Know It, when it's Leonard Bernstein and you start doing those references, Lawrence. But between now and tomorrow's show, enjoy the games and best of luck.